There was an AEW star that was legitimately knocked out during a recent match on Collision. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, who that was, and much, much more. Because AEW Collision, it's actually been a quite interesting show for AEW. If you look at the origins of it, it started out as this was going to be the show that CM Punk ran, right? Because AEW Tony Khan, they would not let Punk or Phil out of his contract after the All Out Brawl, in September of 2022. And so come the summer of 2023, Punk, he had returned. He had healed up from injury, and he was back ready to rock and roll. And so instead of letting him out, they brought him back. And the idea was to do some sort of a brand split, right? You were going to put all these people that didn't like Punk or Punk didn't like or didn't get along with, and then we were going to put Punk over on Collision because AEW was launching a new show, and the timing of it just kind of worked out where that was going to be the case. You're going to have certain stars on Dynamite, certain stars on Collision, and obviously that didn't last too long. Punk, he got the walking papers, and he was out of AEW and later returned to WWE. Now, fast forward almost a year, well, more than a year later, Collision, it's trying to find its stride, right? Because some people like it, some people don't. It's known as the pure wrestling show. That's the way I view it. That's a lot of others view it. Collision is the pure wrestling show. That's what Tony Khan is presenting on a weekly basis. And if you look at where it's at today, well, it's kind of found its footing, that 500, maybe 600, 400,000 viewer range, right? If you have time on your hands, you'll go and watch it. Most of the time, and this is what I do, you can take this if you want as well. If I hear about a good match or a promo, then I'll boot up the old DVR, I'll log into YouTube, and I'll watch it. That's kind of what Collision is now. So that leads us to today's video, because AEW, ROH, they're kind of collaborating if you think about it, because they tape ROH television after AEW. I don't know of many people that watch ROH programming, but if you're out there, hey, better off to you. And then they're going to do the residency down in Arlington, Texas. So that is that. Anyways, so on this week's episode of Collision, it was taped. So we're talking about the July 13th episode of Collision. It was taped on Wednesday at the Dynamite event, and there was a scary moment when Dalton Castle was legitimately knocked out during the match against Roderick Strong. It happened when Strong connected with a jumping knee strike that connected to Castle's jaw, causing Castle to drop to the mat. There was a few camera cuts while the referee counted the pinfall. Now, as a result of this win, Strong, well, he earned the right to challenge Mark Briscoe for the ROH World title at Death Before Dishonor. Now, Dave Meltzer reported the scary moment while speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio. Now, I think this just goes to show that wrestling is not ballet. Things will and can happen, and you got to keep your head on a freaking swivel. I think that's the biggest takeaway from it. And whether you like it or you don't like it, that's just pro wrestling. It's not ballet. You got to watch yourself before you wreck yourself. Right? Isn't that a famous cliche? Look, best wishes this guy. Hope all is well with him. And Dalton Castle, he's always been that interesting guy, right? He's got the boys. He's a very over-the-top persona. He lasted in ROH 4 years. Now he's in AEW. Interesting guy. But, yeah, best of luck to him.